Welcome in, along with Zach Robinson. I'm Cole Brown, talking about quarterbacks that need to finish the season strong. To start, let's take a look at quarterback Derek Carr for the Oakland Raiders. He's had an up-and-down year. His grade of 74 is 23rd currently among quarterbacks in the NFL. What is the outlook for Derek Carr for this season and for the future?
Yeah, you said it's been a very up-and-down season. He is coming off his best game of the season against the Chiefs. He played lights out, looked kind of like the 2016 version of Derek Carr. But you look at just statistically, very average across the board. Not many reliable pass catchers to create big plays. They're 28th in creating chunk plays, explosive plays, and 15 more in the NFL. So average depth of targets, 6.9. So it's tough to sustain drives that way. He's had a tough season handling pressure and those types of things. But he definitely needs to finish strong. He needs to build off of last week because it looked like he had some confidence back, definitely.
Absolutely. So the question all of our viewers want to know, Zach, do you think the Raiders keep him or move on from him in 2019?
It's interesting. We've seen John Gruden not afraid to completely blow this thing up and do whatever he wants. He's got a big contract. There is an out after this, the 2019 coming up, where they would only pay $7.5 million in dead cap. So you can see if John Gruden wants to go the rookie contract route, kind of find a guy that way. There's not that many guys in the draft potentially. So it's going to be very interesting. I think a lot of it is going to be if Derek Carr can kind of show that he has a grasp of this offense, and they'll build some playmakers around him. But that big contract with John Gruden, you don't know how it's going to shake out.
Yeah, he'll be a guy to watch for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Next, let's move on to quarterback Jameis Winston for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Didn't start the season due to being suspended. Then he finally got the job back. Then he threw 4 picks against the Bengals, so he got benched again. But after he's come back to start in the starting role, he's graded out as a top 7 quarterback in the NFL the past 3 weeks. What have you seen from him, and what is his outlook?
The Bengals debacle was one of the worst games we saw from a quarterback all season, but he's bounced back, got benched, kind of, I think, probably took an overall perspective of what he needs to do, and it's always going to come down to valuing the football for him. He's a turnover machine at times, forces too many throws. The biggest thing that I've seen over the past few weeks, he has 3 turnover-worthy plays, but he's taking out some of those negative throws when he's trying to force stuff, and he's using his legs instead. He has the second most scramble runs in the NFL behind Josh Allen the past 3 weeks. So when the play's not there, he's taking off. He's picking up over 5 yards a clip on those plays. So that's the biggest thing for him, is just knowing when the play is dead and when to just take off and go. And hey, a 5-yard gain, a 4-yard gain is not bad, and don't get behind the chains.
And maybe that benching really was good for him. Yeah. But the biggest question, they picked up the 5th-year option in the offseason. Do you think they will let him live that out next season, or do you think they will move on from him?
Yeah, it's interesting. They picked it up. I think if he finishes the season strong, it's hard to see them not going through with him in 2019. But you look at some of these teams like the Giants, the Dolphins, the Jags, the Raiders, whatever they do with Derek Carr, there's going to be a lot of teams that if they go picking at him are going to be interested in Jameis Winston. But it's hard to see if he finishes the season and kind of builds on what he's done the past few weeks. It's hard to see them move on.
No, I absolutely agree. Moving on to the next quarterback, we have the Miami Dolphins. Longtime quarterback, Ryan Tannehill. Obviously, he came back from injury. So some people might have used the excuse, he's needed a few games to get back. Yeah. But through 13 weeks, he is not graded out well. He's actually the lowest grade of his career. What have you seen from him?
It has not been a great season for him. He's second lowest graded quarterback. Yeah.
He's
He's missed some time with some injuries, but when he's been in there, there just hasn't been much there. You look at his passer rating as a 98.4, which is 14th best. So his stats, box score stats, are not matching up with the grade. He has 5 dropped interceptions, the highest rate in the NFL. The most is 7, and that's from guys that have played the entire season. So, there just hasn't been a whole lot there. Not sure what to make of him. You can see the Dolphins definitely moving on in 2019. They kind of have an out in the contract that they can do that. The market for him, is he kind of a stopgap type quarterback while you're looking for your long-term answer? I think that's kind of what he's shown this season and even in the past.
Yeah, the Dolphins will definitely have a tough decision with quarterback Ryan Tannehill. Our last quarterback we're going to talk about is Denver Broncos quarterback Case Keenum. He started off the year kind of slow, but over the past few weeks he's definitely picked it up.
Yeah, he's played great. They've faced the 5th toughest schedule in the NFL, the Broncos have. And you've seen since week 7, he's been a top 10 quarterback in the NFL by our grades. So that says a lot. The contract that they signed, a 2-year for 36, they're telling you they're looking for their next guy. I think everybody knows that. So, but he is a great bridge quarterback.
Yeah.
And if he can continue to play well, he's probably going to keep finding starting jobs somewhere. If it's not with the Broncos, if they end up moving on and drafting a guy or whatnot. So, it's going to be interesting to see how all these guys can finish the season out, and just the revolving door at quarterback, because the free agent market's not great, but these guys could make it interesting if teams decide to move on or find a trade partner.
Yeah, just like you said, it'll be interesting to see how these quarterbacks finish the season out and what happens to their future. That wraps up our video on quarterbacks that need to finish the season strong. Make sure to like this video as well as subscribe to our channel for future videos.